Hey everybody, Kevin here. Before we dive into this week's episode of Play Some Video Games, we did have a little announcement we wanted to follow up about the Make Us Better Patreon and the Make Us Better community. As many of you have already heard or seen, Mr. Sean Capri is taking some much needed time off to fully embrace the dad life all over again as he and Chelsea prepare to welcome in another little Capri into this world later on this week. With that being said, he is unsure of the future of his content creation once he does come back from his much-deserved time off. We decided at PSVG we did not want to continue on with something that Sean and many others had built, and we were just simply graciously invited into. Jacob at Nintendo Nostalgia is also welcoming a new little addition very soon, so things are hectic over in that Mushroom Kingdom, and Mark is taking a step back from Warp Whistle Gaming, so we decided it was time for us to do our own thing, and for us to captain our own ship. We fully support and maintain our friendships with our fellow content creators and of course Sean Capri, who without his guidance, support, and encouragement, we wouldn't have been bold enough to make this grand jump in the first place. So please continue to love and support those guys as we still do today. Now on to all of our Patreon supporters. Thank you so much for your support over the past few months and embracing us into this grand community. We do truly appreciate it. And to all of our listeners and fans, we shall continue making strides in our never-ending quest for podcast excellence. The PSVG Podcast Network Discord, it has been reopened, and many of you have already joined us in that very active space. But if you haven't as of yet, go over to psvg.blog, click on that little Discord link to come and find us and join in the discussion. We will have some news to announce shortly, but in the meantime, the biggest and best way to support us, as always, is with a listen, a share, and a telling of a friend about what we do here. And most importantly, we ask as always, you never stop gaming.
Greetings, Kooplings. My name is Donnie Reese, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of the PSVG podcast, PSVG Prime, as one nicknamed by Sean Capri. My name is Donnie Reese, filling in the host chair for Kevin Austin, who is on his birthday. He's celebrating his birthday. He's celebrating in style at home sick. Unfortunately, I was made here. He's not feeling too great, so I wanted to sweep in here a little Empire flavor for this week's PSVG because Xbox just had a show, something. The Xbox said stuff. We're going to get into all of that. And because Xbox said stuff, we needed to bring in members of our Podern family, driving all the way over from the Xbox Drive, Mr. Luke Lohr. How are you, buddy?
I'm great, man. Thank you guys for having me on. Nothing better than chatting video games, so I appreciate you guys welcoming me into the show.
Absolutely. And then bringing over some flavor from the XP, we've brought Justin back. What's up, buddy?
How's it going?
It's going well, man. It's kind of cold over here. How's it where you are?
Oh, it's very cold. Yeah, it's snow's on the ground already.
Oh, no.
Christmas tree is up. I am ready to go. It is that time of the year, my friend.
Sir, let Thanksgiving have its day.
Well,
we should move Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Like, just in the betterment of the holiday, just get it out of the way.
Yeah. Well, I went vegetarian about a year ago. And ever since then, Thanksgiving has just lost all meaning. When you can't have,
I could imagine so.
Yeah,
That's
when
weird.
you can't have a Thanksgiving turkey, there's no point. You might as well skip right to Christmas.
I have no, and this don't sound really stupid, but if you're a vegetarian, can you still have like noodles, or is there like some animal preserve?
No, yeah,
or
I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not a vegan. I wouldn't be able to do that. That's like where you can't have any animal byproducts.
Oh,
no,
okay.
I just don't eat regular meat.
Okay, but you can still do like mac and cheese stuff.
Oh yeah. I still eat cheese, milk,
sweet potato souffle. Oh, dude, you're good.
Yeah, exactly.
I could do Thanksgiving without turkey.
That's true. Yeah,
I could totally do Thanksgiving without turkey and ham.
I made some veggie stuffing last year. It was pretty good.
What's the difference between stuffing and veggie stuffing?
You just use vegetable stock instead of chicken stock.
You can't even have the broth
or turkey stock.
You have the broth?
No. Wow. So you can buy vegetable broth though.
Did that just come off like extremely like judgmental on my part?
No, you should be judgmental.
I mean, to each their own.
I'm a horrible human being. I've given up one of the best things, and Thanksgiving turkey. So it's okay.
All right. Well, tonight's show is going to be a fun one because the story that I was going to tell Luke on the pre-show, I'm just going to get out of the way now. On our live reactions, which I did yesterday at twitch.tv/PSVG to XO18, from Xbox, I saw a tweet from Luke Lohr that said, "This conference was amazing. It was better than E3." And on the live stream, I said, you know what? I'm not going to be the cynical Mr. Poo-poo party. I'm going to let Luke have his day. And on that stream, I just said, I'm going to let him do his thing. I'm not going to hop in there. And then Mo, Coach Hulk, who's supposed to be on tonight's show, said, the folks at PSVG don't think it was so good. And Luke responded back, not enough plumbers. Not enough plumbers in there for this. And he just coaxed me out of my cave. So instead of going into toxic fanboy war on Twitter, I said, Luke, come over to the show and let's talk about it. Let's do this the old-fashioned way. Let's have a nice little reprieve. But before we get into all the announcements,
explain how I contacted you, because I didn't want it to become like a mean thing. I wanted to make sure it was all in good fun. It
was a very nice little sidebar DM message. He was like, "Hey, Donnie, I just want to let you know, like, I wasn't trying to be mean or anything." I was like, hey, you got to come by our Discord sometimes, man. Dev treats me 1,000 times worse than that. That was nice. That was the nice way.
Well, in the spirit of crossplay, I just wanted everyone to know I was joking, and not about the enjoyment of the conference. I truly did enjoy the conference. I just meant about the plumber. But I didn't want it to be a fanboy war on Twitter, because then when they get you in those group chats and you're there with 48 notifications, that's exhausting.
It is. Devin in the chat says, "I resent that. I will not be affiliated with any plumbers."
Hi, Dev.
That's not true. That's not true. He went to the dark side, or the light side, you would say.
Are we the light side?
I would say so, yes.
Okay. Shaq is the light side. Yes, Devin's coming to Shaq next week. Not this week, but next week. But that's not about this show. Let's get on the show. So Microsoft did their XO18. So we talked about the Empire last month. XO is the special event that they hold to talk all the great things about Xbox. It turns out this special event lasted for 2 hours. And it was something. Before we get into the announcements, I just want to ask you guys, Justin, did you watch it?
Didn't watch it live. No, I just kind of checked in later in the day and watched all the news.
Okay.
Didn't get a chance to watch it live. I guess since I didn't watch it live, how was the presentation?
I'm gonna save that. Okay. I'm gonna say I think maybe you probably did this better. Like, you probably got the better experience and not watching the entire thing live.
Okay. One of those deals.
Yep. Live with Q, and I do want to check everybody's expectations. My expectations, as I said on Twitch, were I was hoping that we get some really cool Game Pass announcements, which we did. My expectations were, somewhat reasonable. Luke, what were your expectations before the show started?
That is a wonderful question that I don't have a really good answer for you, because I don't know. On the Xbox Drive, Sean and I would talk consistently about what we wanted the show to be or what we were expecting. And almost every time we came down on, we want it to be good, we want it to be fun, we don't know what to expect. Is Crackdown out? Is it not? We genuinely did not know, from a truly logistical, like, objective standpoint, what to expect. Some of the logical predictions I had did not come true. Like, I was expecting Gears Pop to go live. That didn't,
It's a good one.
Yeah, like, there were things that we wondered would happen, if it would happen, and we truly did not know what to expect. And so I think on the last show I said, all I really want is for fans to enjoy and be happy. And I didn't say it to be fluffy or patronizing. That's just all I wanted. Like, if you're going to have this conference, have it and do it well, because this generation is firmly seated in PlayStation's camp. If you're going to celebrate with your fans, make sure they have something to celebrate. And I think that's where we ended up on a polar difference, not just you and I, but amongst kind of the entire gaming community, which I thought was interesting.
Okay. So I've got a list of announcements. We're going to come through them. Some of them are going to roundtable, and then I might summarize some of the other ones before we just kind of talk about the presentation as a whole. So let's kick this off with what I think is the most newsworthy, notable announcement from this. I'm about to call it direct Inside Xbox special. Microsoft Studios has officially acquired Obsidian Entertainment and In Exile Entertainment. Now, we knew about Obsidian. That leaked early. We expected it. That came true. I personally don't think the leak hurt the news. That was one thing I brought up. I think that's a big news story. Obsidian has a long history of making, I would say, at least quality games. I don't think they're by any means going to come in and, flip the gaming industry on its head or anything, but that's a quality acquisition on Microsoft's part, and I think that's a studio more than capable of taking or making something. They could take something in Xbox's past, or they can make something of their own, and it can be a great, I don't filler sounds derogatory, and I don't mean it to sound like that, but it could be a great, time spacer in between their bigger tentpole, game releases. They could take some of their RPG systems. It gives their lineup and their library a different flavor in between the releases of the Gears, the Halo, the Forza, their bigger titles that they're known for. So I think this is really big news. Because one, we don't get a whole lot of studio acquisitions.
Mm-hmm.
This leak, that was one of the things I pointed out, is that that's not really like a thing that the gaming industry does. Like, they don't really have like a bunch of free agency. Hideo Kojima, when he went live, like, that was a big deal, because most of the time studios just shutter. They shutter and people go around, they leave and they spread and they become parts of pieces of other studios that are already in existence. So for somebody to just go pick up a studio, and I wonder what that means for like their back catalog and stuff like that, like going forward. It'll be interesting to see. In Exile, I don't know nearly as much about. I've never played Wasteland, or was it the Bard's Tale? I believe it's
Bard's Tale is the other one.
And I've never played either one of those games. I can't say that I know people that have played either. Have either of you played those games?
No, I have not. No,
I have not either. I think, and to your point about studios, I think these are acquisitions that help them round out their catalog. I think that's kind of the big thing, is these are helping, not filler, as you said, but they round out the catalog. It's now 2 firm, strong, proven RPG studios.
Correct.
And 2D, 3D, or viewpoint perspective. Yeah, whatever that might be. This helps round out their catalog, which is smart when you have a subscription service for games like Game Pass that you want to launch games day and date. You better have a variety within there.
Sure, absolutely. And the one point that I made in our live stream is, I think it's important that Microsoft is demonstrating that they understand that video gaming, at least today at their level, is more about distribution of creation than hardware. Is starting to realize that you're now in the IP ownership business, because the hardware with streaming and PC, and it's becoming more and more convoluted and less, I think, important, as everybody kind of looks, big picture at this digital future that appears to be looming. If you want to be a player like a Nintendo or a Microsoft or a Sony, you better have some IPs, or like, you're just going to be left in. Now you just become a single developer studio. So I think this is really big news. Justin, what do you think about them acquiring these 2 RPG houses?
Yeah, I was super excited. Obviously I'm the PlayStation guy on this current cast right now, and I don't own an Xbox One, but I'm always paying attention to what you guys have for exclusives, because that's the reason I went to PlayStation in the first place, was exclusives. And like, with these 2 acquisitions and the 5 studios that they announced back during E3, I think, they probably have more studios than PlayStation at this point. Certainly they're getting close, if not over that.
I should have done that number, and I didn't. And
yeah,
I'm upset about it. I want to say at first, I don't think so. I don't think you're right. But
I'm just thinking like 5 studios, then 2 studios now, plus what they already had. Like, that's a lot of studios. You think about
Microsoft has a lot of second party affiliations.
Yeah, that's
they
true.
have a whole lot of first party outright stuff. I want to say this. What does this bring them up to? Like 10 or 12? Luke, do you know?
Top of my head, I don't know. I think it's around 15.
Okay.
Because we tend to forget, like, Mahjong, and they have a mobile division that's specific to certain things. They have a lot that we don't think of right away.
Yeah, maybe we don't even think about for AAA gaming as well.
Correct.
Yeah. But no, for me, this was big news. I am an RPG fan. I don't have any background with either of these companies specifically. I didn't play Stick of the Truth. I definitely haven't played any of NXIL's games. But I do like role playing game. I like RPGs, so I usually just stick to like JRPGs and stuff. But them adding this group, these 2 guys, makes me. I'll be really curious where my allegiance lies next console era. If I'm being completely honest,
I think a lot of people will.
Yeah. I think I'll be kind of stuck in a situation where I can't walk away from Naughty Dog, and Studio Santa Monica, with God of War series. Like, I probably will never be able to walk away from those 2 game series. So maybe next
Hey,
generation.
in Microsoft's credit, the answer to your dilemma might just be both, and in that case, everybody wins.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
Like you win, they win. You know, there's no either
Yeah.
or here. I own all of them.
No, that's very true. I think if 10 years ago Microsoft had this strategy and had all these exclusive studios, I would probably be in a situation today where I had to have both systems.
Sure.
But with the current Xbox, like the Xbox exclusives coming out this year, you know, that choice, I don't need to make that choice. None of those are really align with my interest. So, but I'm glad that they, you know, I think this is a huge announcement. It did get leaked. But I think you're right, Donnie, that for it to get confirmed today or yesterday was still pretty big. So,
before we move on from this, Luke, I just want to throw this your way.
Mhm.
You think, would you prefer that Obsidian and In Exile do something new and brand new for the Xbox audience? Or do you think they take a property that Microsoft has, they do something with that? Or they keep working on maybe something they're already doing? I mean, it's Wasteland 4, and, you know, I don't know what Obsidian's last thing.
It's very difficult for me to answer strictly on the basis that I'm not too familiar with their work on a firsthand experience. I've read plenty about both studios. I'm well aware that Fallout New Vegas and KOTOR are very well received, but those were not my games when they were in kind of their main prime zeitgeist.
Also they are Obsidian games, but they're Obsidian using another property. And that's actually why I asked the question is, do you think they're better put maybe with giving them a property and letting them take something that's established and making a good game out of it versus them trying to create something brand new? Because their track record of doing that isn't nearly as good as them using a property that already carries some weight.
I don't. The short answer is I do not care, provided they treat whatever they do with respect, which I think you would fully expect from studios that are being touted like that. And Matt Booty was very clear in saying we're giving them space to do what they want, not only because those two studios have history with one another, but in general, Microsoft and Phil Spencer and Matt Booty have said very clearly, we are bringing these people in not to hamper them and not to force them into something. We're not forcing them on Connect 3 or make Quantum Break because it's also got TV, which was a Terry Myerson era Xbox. That's not the Xbox that people have now, and they're setting up for the future. So whether or not they create a new IP or not doesn't bother me in the slightest. Treat it with respect. I mean, it was because of Sunset Overdrive that Spider-Man was created, and I surely do love playing Spider-Man. So I don't care. I do not mind either way.
Okay. And I just think for the purposes of news reporting, it's been widely speculated. I call it speculation because nobody's actually shown any numbers, but apparently Obsidian was in pretty bad financial shape. Mm-hmm. So Microsoft should get, I guess, I don't know really how to say this. I'd say give them kudos for maybe coming in and saving the day, definitely saving people's jobs. Mm-hmm. So that's definitely something cool. Like maybe they really respect their games, but their games haven't sold very well, probably because they haven't had an IP. You know, like obviously KOTOR, South Park, Fallout, those games sold well because somebody else's IP, but they haven't had an easy job getting their own stuff off the ground. But as you already said, as we've all said, it's obviously a good developer. They have a track record dating back over a decade of making at least good games. Mm-hmm. And Microsoft's position this generation, man, I can't tell you how important that is, that they just have, 2 or 3 folks that are capable of just making good games. Get them out. They didn't have to be The Last of Us or, Horizon. Just get good first party exclusives out the door, somewhat regularly. And I think a lot of people would be very happy. The second bullet point that I have is Crackdown 3 is releasing February 15th, 2019. It's launching into Game Pass. I personally loved this little bit of news in the presentation. I think this is the best Crackdown 3 has been presented and shown. I thought the trailer with Terry Crews was absolutely hilarious, and it had me laughing quite hard. That should be the promo that they run on TV. They won't, because it's a little adult language, but it should be, because that's exactly that's exactly how I would market and position Crackdown. Crackdown isn't for kids. You play that thing on FXX after Sons of Anarchy goes off at 10:30, or you play, you get that on some programming where you target, mature adults over 21. That's the target for that video game. They showed the multiplayer mode. They showed the destructive environments. They talked more about the cloud. I feel like for this game's marketing, it'd be best if they just stopped saying that and just left alone and just talked about the game. But I thought the game looked good. I want to give props a little to Sumo Digital, who by all reports has come in and tried to basically save the day on this thing. I think a lot better than it did before. I did read some hands-on impressions from Windows Central,
I also read that. Yeah.
Oh, and they loved it.
Mhm.
Now, it's Windows Central, so you can call some bias, but they loved it. And I spent all day yesterday preparing for the conference by playing the original Crackdown, which is free for anybody that has an Xbox until the end of November, November 30th, 31st,
30th. Yeah.
30. There you go. And it's free for the entire month. And I played it in beautiful 4K. It's X enhanced, and it looks great, actually. And Crackdown's just a load of fun, and that's exactly what that game should be. It's like Saints Row with Infamous and Team Fortress vibes. It's this cartoony, open world, just ridiculous shooter, and it's fun. Now, the release date is an interesting one. They're launching in a window that's pretty packed. I think it would be better if it was early. I think it'd be better if they kicked off the year with that. That could have slotted, I think, nicely in that January Monster Hunter window. Nothing's out. Here comes Crackdown. It launches in the Game Pass, and everybody plays it at least for 2 weeks. I'm afraid with it launching next to Metro and Anthem, it losing maybe a little bit of its buzz, but it's still exciting. It's launching into Game Pass. And I'll save the show impressions till later, but this show was very Game Pass centric. So, Justin, what do you think about Crackdown 3?
Yeah, I think it seems like they've been delaying this for so long that I would have liked to have seen it moved up a little bit quicker than February. Even something by the end of the year would have been nice. Because they've been working on this game for a very long time, and the fans just deserve to see it come out by now. But Game Pass is something that, as a PlayStation guy, again, I'm pretty jealous of. So anytime that they have a AAA game like this and they say, "Yep, it's coming to Game Pass," like, that's a huge plus to that. It's crazy. The value on that thing is, crazy. So I think that's incredible. So who doesn't love Terry Crews? There is no way that they didn't record a maybe a little more kid friendly version of that trailer, because Terry Crews could sell me a homeless guy's bar of soap, and I would take it,
And thank you for
the cardboard cutout thing. That was so good. He just popped up on it. So
yeah, the man can sell anything, especially this game. So I'll be really curious when that comes out.
Cool. Ghost, what do you think about Crackdown?
Crackdown is a franchise near and dear to my heart. I tweet them almost every week, at least once a week, just words of encouragement. Because Crackdown 3, that story was written very poorly for the people that are making it now, because the people who started, not the same group almost entirely, and with completely different design philosophies. Because it was at the very beginning of the generation, Xbox existed in such a different ether. I'm excited for Crackdown 3 for a number of reasons, if only out of morbid curiosity. I very much want it to be good. I hope it is good for the community and for the developers whose names roll in the credits. But I am very excited for it. I thought the idea that they're putting Crackdown 1 in there with X enhancements for free is great for fans to build hype for that. I found every orb in the first game and every orb in the second one, I believe. I thoroughly enjoy Crackdown as a franchise, and I'm glad Crackdown 3 is seemingly pulling out of its nosedive.
Yeah, and it's in an interesting place because there's not a whole lot of things like Crackdown. I mean, you call it like an arcade shooter. You think of things like Fortnite or Splatoon or Team Fortress, things like that, but this is very different. It's very different. Like, it's superpower. It's like superhuman, arcade shooters. Like, the amount you just jump off of buildings and, jump from one building to the, like, it's pretty crazy. So
we should, if you don't mind interrupting, that game Crackdown, what it was, has been done better since Crackdown came out. In multiple ways. You have Spider-Man, open world, super powered, hopping around. That's a good example of traversal. Infamous Second Son kind of had that same vibe, moving around, maybe, but you didn't swing. So you've seen the genre progress. We now need to see Crackdown mature with it.
That's an interesting point. I don't know how much maturing Crackdown 3 is going to do, but we'll see. Remains to be seen. Just a couple months away. We'll all get to see it finally when it launches into Game Pass. It's pretty cool. My next news bullet is Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. It's coming. It's getting a physical edition, which, to be honest, I didn't know that didn't already exist. So it's coming to box in retailers, but it hits Game Pass next month in December. This is one of my Game of the Year finalists in 2017. I absolutely love and adore this game. It's X enhanced on Xbox, and I cannot wait to play it again. I cannot tell you how much I thoroughly enjoyed this game. I've said it before on the show, so I won't dwell on about it, but play the game with headphones. It's a must. You got to play it with headphones. Don't play it on your TV. I don't care how great your sound system is. You got to have headphones. The voices in the game have to be in your ears just as much as they're in Sinuous. So, Ghost, what do you think about Hellblade?
Fantastic game. Play it with headphones. It's one of those games that it was PlayStation exclusive for a bit, and it seems that Ninja Theory and Xbox certainly turned it around on their relationship and built it up after that kind of year exclusivity deal we see happen a lot of places changed up. I'm very glad to see that it's hitting physical, and I don't care what system anyone plays it on. This game has a beautiful message, beautiful sound design, beautiful art, and the story behind their making it, from the actor who plays Senua to everything else. It's well worth a look in, because it's one of the greatest, in my opinion, success stories of a quote AA game in this generation. Please play this game.
So, Justin, have you played it?
I haven't played it. It always looked interesting to me, but I passed on it early on. And again, if I had something like a Game Pass on PlayStation, that would get releases like this, I'd give games like this a second chance. But at this point, I'm probably not going to. But
sure, and that's one of the major benefits of Game Pass is,
yeah,
they launched. I can't tell you how many games I've downloaded and booted up just because they were there. Just because, like, that you see a thumbnail or a video, or you hear one good review or one tweet about the game, and you have access. So go, why not? There's no barrier.
Yeah, exactly.
Like a 1 hour demo that you have to be worried about getting hooked and you can't play it later because you didn't buy it. It's just a free berry. Just go play the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and then so Ninja Theory is a Microsoft Studio now.
Yes.
So that's why this is coming to Game Pass, and that's another. I mean, like you said, you love that game. Who knows what I don't know if they're gonna have a sequel or what it's gonna be next, but I'll be excited.
Ninja Theory has the potential in my mind to become, to say they're Naughty Dog is way too much, but to become a studio for Microsoft that's in that realm, that makes games that are similar experiences, first person, solo player narrative experiences that you just can't get anywhere else. And those at a high production value.
Yeah. They certainly have the creative chops to do it.
Definitely. Hellblade is it's a AAA game. It feels,
I think they did that on quite a budget too.
Yeah, they did.
It's like when you hear the main voice actress was just a member of the coding team, right? She wasn't even I think she was.
I watched all those videos when I played it. I played it, I watched their developer diaries, and then I did a review.
Yeah, I want to say that was one of the cool stories that came out of it, was that she was just a developer, and they're like, "Hey, do you want to do this voice?" And she's like, "Yep."
That's
so,
really good.
Yeah.
Okay, Sea of Thieves is getting a new player mode called The Arena, promising that players can test their pirating skills in fast-paced matches against rival crews. Luke, what do you think about this PvP match?
I think this is exactly what I would. That's a big factor of what I would hope for Sea of Thieves. I wanted this type of content, and I wanted single player content, because I think it would be silly to say Sea of Thieves met expectations for the entire community. Yeah. But Sea of Thieves did hit multi-million numbers of users, which I think we kind of forget about, and it has a very dedicated audience within it. It sort of reminds me of Destiny in the way that a lot of people flocked to it, tried it out, and then those who stayed adore it, something special. I'm glad to see they're continuing to support Sea of Thieves. The arena does intrigue me because I prefer more combat. I was a little bit bored with Sea of Thieves, but there is a lot to be enjoyed within that game, and I'm glad Microsoft didn't from it, to be perfectly honest. So glad it's happening. I know Rare is all in on Sea of Thieves. The more they improve it, I'd like to see this game have a 10-year life cycle if it continues to be supported and people seem happy, because there is a dedicated fan base.
I would back up that sentiment. I was not as big a fan of Sea of Thieves. I didn't enjoy that game as much. I tried playing it solo. Yeah, it's not very good solo. Did have some fun playing it with multiplayer, but it's just something I was never, it's just choreful.
Agreed.
The game is pretty hard. I also wanted some single player something. I just so badly want to go hunt treasure in that game, without being constantly shot at and constantly chased and I've always wanted to put up a white flag and just sail around and have fun. like if I go catch animals or something. I don't know. It's like the Nintendo gamer in me. It's a beautiful world that I just feel like constantly harassed by whenever I go in there. Like we're constantly just running from people shooting at us, or hiding from people shooting at us, or trying to shoot other people. So I imagine
it launched, so it'll be worth for Game Pass subscribers to go in 2 months from now and see if it's different, or a year. Go at the year anniversary, because it'll probably be very different than our initial experiences. But I like you, board, not my thing.
Dustin, you want to say anything about Sea of Thieves?
No, I'm it's always good to see a game like that getting supported. And adding that kind of update to it it'll bring it back to Twitch. Crowds, streamers are probably gonna like it, playing a little bit more. We're making it, adding the combat in there and stuff. So it'll definitely, we've seen this happen to other games where if you just put a little bit of faith into it, and put a little bit of time into it, over time it builds a bigger and bigger audience over time. So it's just the fact that Microsoft's willing to put that money, kind of put their money where their mouth is, and support a game like that, means that they get it. They understand that they need to not just give up on games as soon as, it might have been a commercial failure in the very beginning, but they can kind of turn it over time. And then by the time a Sea of Thieves 2 comes out, or a sequel, then you're kind of good to go. You're going to have a lot bigger audience that will make that a success off the bat.
Okay. The next newsworthy item that I hear is Kingdom Hearts 3 is going to have Winnie the Pooh minigames. This was a chunk of this presentation. They had Hashimoto from the Kingdom Hearts series on stage. He took selfies with the crowd. They talked about the origins of Kingdom Hearts, which was one of the cons that I had for the conference. So we can talk about this a little bit, Luke. When we were live streaming, I was like, do not mention the fact that none of these games have ever come to Xbox. Like, don't even address them. Just talk about Kingdom Hearts 3 and get out of here. And when they started down the questioning path of like, hey, where did you come up with the idea for Kingdom Hearts? And way back when, I was like, oh, they're about to announce the HD remasters coming to Xbox. Like, this is big. You're launching this Kingdom Hearts 3 game where none of the installments have ever been out on an Xbox platform. Now they're going to get everybody caught up. Like, this is a big news. Mm-hmm. And just segued right out of it. And they started talking about Final Fantasy. They were like, so tell us about he's like, oh, I thought of Kingdom Hearts in the elevator. Like, that's great. Final Fantasy games are coming to Xbox too. He's like, yes, they are, which we already knew. That news came out after the news came out that they were all coming to Switch. They did announce that they're backwards compatible. Mm-hmm. So some of them, the 360 versions are coming to backwards compatibility. And then all of the other ones are coming next year. So that's all news we already knew. And then they took, I don't know, 30, 45 seconds to film him taking selfies in front of the crowd. And the crowd was, hyped. And I'm sure that there was producers there, like getting people excited and whatnot. I don't fault them for that. I would too, if I was running an event. You don't want a crowd of just silent people staring at a stage. You want people excited. So I'm not going to throw any stones that way. But yeah, I don't understand. Like we knew Kingdom Hearts 3 was coming. Like why they did the interview for a game. Yeah, I don't know why they mentioned, like why they even pointed to the earlier ones that weren't coming. I don't know. And why they combed over all the Final Fantasy stuff again. I don't know. I don't know about this one. This was one of the downsides for me. What do you think, Luke?
I think they were absolutely first. I found that whole segment very charming because the director, gentleman whose name I don't remember,
Shinji Hashimoto.
Thank you. Yes, he was so endearing and he seems so genuine and happy and positive and excited for the franchise that I liked that. I actually enjoyed the selfie part, which certainly seemed off script and strange, but it somehow, like, he was so pleasant and I guess in his demeanor that I was smiling and happy for people there and for him. But I think the reason we're seeing it on Xbox's stage, even though they truly did need to have some sort of either the collections coming or this special is happening, or here's some exclusive thing that we just it's not been seen before. They're trying to remind gamers that have lapsed on Xbox or that might have gone over to PlayStation that, hey, these games do exist here, because I think Final Fantasy is not synonymous with PlayStation, but it certainly leans heavily towards PlayStation, and understandably so, as it should, given its history. So I think they were trying to remind everybody, hey, these things that are traditionally thought of as PlayStation do exist here in our platform. And so they wanted to kind of foster that relationship, and probably bringing that gentleman out on stage, it probably helps a lot of backhand handshakes. Like, hey, remember, we took care of you. We care about you as a franchise. You're important to us as a platform, and vice versa. So I would imagine there was a lot of that happening, but I found that whole segment charming and endearing. But I'm also, spade to spade, I've never cared about Kingdom Hearts much, so it didn't speak to me on that level. I was smiling and grinning whilst not interested in the game.
Okay, I have a rebuttal to that before we get in there. What do you think, Justin?
I mean, that's probably a really good. Lucas probably nailed it. That they're just trying to remind people that Xbox also has JRPGs. And this is one of the biggest ones.
I think it's interesting because this is Xbox Fan Fest. This is Xbox inside Xbox and their base. That's not a game for their base. I mean, Luke is their base, and he's like, I'm not interested in the game at all. So why highlight it? I mean, I get your point. I really do. You're highlighting it because you want to remind people that it's there, but it's never been there before. You're not bringing back the legacy that folks are missing. They're literally launching like the 6th installment of the series without any of the previous 5. And you got to think that anybody, I mean, and I know there's somebody out there. I know like Coach or somebody out there is going to buy Kingdom Hearts on Xbox. That's not what I'm trying to say. You got to think the Kingdom Hearts fans, the people that love the Kingdom Hearts series, you got to think they're buying. They already have a PlayStation. So I mean, I'm sure there might be some Xbox people out there that go, "Oh, I'm going to buy Kingdom Hearts now." But I mean, it's Xbox Fan Fest, and I don't think you're talking to your fans by showing Kingdom Hearts.
Or they were trying to bring in the people like me and say, "Hey, this is here. Do you want it? We've got it for you." And that's probably where the back compat part played a factor. They were like, "Hey, and also our relationship is building. Remember, PlayStation fans, if you want to play this game right now, you can't. It's over here." That's probably what they were trying to do, is speak to the people, maybe not in the audience.
Sure. Maybe. State of Decay is getting new gears, weapons, and enemies, and a thing called the Zed Hunter update. Now, the guy that talked about it, the things that I remember when he talked about it, he was really nice. I liked him. But he said a lot and didn't really provide any details at all. He was just like, we have a new update that's coming, but I didn't really get an idea of what it was. It sounded like it was like a challenge update. He's like, it's going to be, like a more challenging update. Like I was expecting like a new game plus type of thing, but they didn't really talk about that. They just kind of said new content. We're getting new gear, new guns. And I expected to see a lot of DLC from this. And, State of Decay, Sea of Thieves, Forza made sense. So none of this blew me away. It was expected. I think it would have been, and they had a trailer. I think it would have been interesting to hear them talk more about this like big update, like new game mode and exactly what that means versus just showing new weapons and, new zombies. It's a little weird. But Luke, what do you think about State of Decay?
It was absolutely one of my favorite games of the year. Amidst all the AAA goodness that we got this year, Spider-Man and good Assassin's Creed Odyssey and Red Dead and so many other great games.
Way robo voice on us there for a minute.
I think sounded like the old early morning gamer episodes of Seth before you got to upgrade.
For sure. I just toned down my bandwidth to see if that helps anyway, because I'm the one streaming the video. Maybe that does something for there. But I think we got that. You thought State of Decay 2 was amazing. It's one of your favorite games of the year. It stand out in a game in a year full of really good games. And you're excited about this update?
I'm excited about the update. It stands out in a fun way. I don't think it stands next to Spider-Man or any of the AAA.
Sure.
But whereas Sea of Thieves they both hit big and then kind of fell off. I fell into the audience of enjoying State of Decay. It's some of the most fun I've had this year in a game. And so I'm glad they're continuing to support it. It matches up a lot with the idea of Inside Xbox and FanFest. Hey, for our fans, here's an inside look at what's coming. I'm glad to see they're continuing to support it. And you said the guy said a lot. I was just captivated because he seemed happy. He seemed excited.
He did. I would say he felt very genuine.
Yes.
And, it's just a little, and there were other people in the show that were way worse stage presence. But that's just one of the things I remember from the story. I was just like, it felt very like aloof, just off the cuff. And they were just like, hey, go tell us about your game. It's cool. So Forza Horizon 4 also got DLC. They have a new expansion. They're getting lightning storms. You can cruise across, with aurora skies, and that looks super awesome across this big rocky mountain with all these windy curves. Looks very drift heavy. Remind me of, I guess this is their take on like Blizzard Mountain. It's not snowy, but all the lightning storms, like this environmental DLC drop. They showcased a bunch of cars that are coming, which is, I mean, that's Forza doing Forza things. Forza Horizon 4 is awesome. It's an amazing game. It's really, really good. I didn't like it as much as 3, but that doesn't mean I don't take anything away from the game. The game was great. I haven't played it as much as Forza Horizon 3, I don't think. Again, that doesn't take anything away from it. I still think it's great. It was a really good racing game. I just don't think, I think the setting, I just didn't appreciate as much as the third one. That's, a dumb thing, but I don't know if I wouldn't jump in or be buying this DLC just of what they've showed, but I'm sure there's people that are, and they're going to be super excited about the cars. This isn't a type of announcement that I would expect at an inside Xbox, an Xbox Direct, if you will. Justin, does the Forza thing do anything for you? I mean, I know with you being such the PlayStation gamer, like seeing all these car games come out every year as you wait, 10 years in between Gran Turismo releases. I mean, is that pull on you at all?
Oh yeah, well, the Horizon series is what's pulling on me. I mean, when GT Sport came out last year, but it wasn't necessarily, people didn't consider it a full Gran Turismo release. But even then, the Horizon series looks way more interesting to me. And I think they tried doing that with Drive Club, but it just didn't work out, and it had all these problems coming out. Horizon is definitely the kind of racing game that I want to play. And Horizon 4 looked like one of the, easily the best one in the series so far. So that's definitely probably the biggest exclusive that I've missed, because I don't have Xbox this whole year. I could care less about Gears of War and some of the other series, but Horizon 4 was that looks ridiculously beautiful and a lot of fun.
That's exactly what it is. And I think you're right. I mean, the fact that they drop the series every year, I think kind of makes it. It's definitely one of Xbox's pillar titles.
Yeah,
it's one of their pillar movies.
It's shameful that the release schedule for the GT series, for Gran Turismo series, it really is. I understand those games are a lot to build, but
they are.
Even the main Forza team,
Xbox on two teams that
they're still on a 2-year release schedule. Yeah. Which is way faster than what we're getting over in the PlayStation. So either way, it's come on, guys. It's at some point they should be a little bit embarrassed. Just release the game already, or come up with something. Or I don't know what's going on over there. But the Horizon series in particular, awesome to see DLC coming for it. I'm sure it's gonna be first of many. But it's always looked super fun to me.
Ghost, what do you think about this Mountain DLC?
I agree. I think to go to the idea that I think Forza Horizon 4 is one of the best racing games, if not the best racing game ever created. I think 3 had a lot more charm, and this does nothing to add charm. That DLC in Forza Horizon 3 with Hot Wheels, yeah. That was something special, almost Mario Kart-esque in the idea that it was festive and it played with a franchise. This Fortune Island does nothing for me. It does nothing that the main game doesn't already do. I love the main game. It's great, but I don't feel a need to go out and purchase this because it doesn't feel that different or doesn't look that different from the game proper, whereas Blizzard Mountain in the first in Forza Horizon 3 was so different. Well, now we get 4 seasons worth of content in Forza Horizon 4 that I didn't have to pay for because of Game Pass. I don't know that I'd be rushing to go buy Fortune Island. If it had been something special or different, like the Halo racing level or something like Hot Wheels DLC, dude, heartbeat. But this fell flat, and I was surprised that it did not lead into a discussion of future races or of what Playground might be bringing, like Fable 4. I was surprised that they didn't talk about their kind of offshoot team and what they might be doing.
My expectations and I wouldn't say predictions, but definitely that was my pie in the sky. This is what I want.
I would imagine a lot of those pie in the sky or thoughts that you thought you were going to see. I would imagine you see 1 or 2 of those at the Game Awards. It looked like they were holding stuff back.
That'd be good. My last notable thing that we're going to roundtable is the Winter of Arcade has returned. They announced that an ID of Xbox little thing. They talked about game set. We knew we were coming. They talked about Zelda Fox Tunic. Call it Zelda Fox because that's exactly what it is. It's Zelda. You play as a fox, pick up pots, you hit little slime songs. like it looks amazing. I want to play the game so much. I have no idea when I'm playing. Apparently it's being 100% completely made by one person. One single developer is doing the music, the writing, the programming, the art, everything. So who knows when we're going to play it. I'm playing that thing on Xbox 8. But this was interesting with the Winter of Arcade. This is something that I think a lot of Xbox owners definitely in the podcast, like news following community is really excited about it. I don't know, I am. I listen to the Xbox Drive, and I listen to IGN's Unlocked every week, and everybody loves the Summer of Arcade. It brought so many games to our attention. It's how many people played, Braid and all the game Castle Crashers. I know a lot of people have those memories of getting those games through this arcade program, and for them to announce it like they did, I think was awful. This was probably my biggest letdown and upset of the presentation. This is it. This is your fan fest. You told people you had news. This was the time to say something, and they literally said, Winter of Arcade is coming back, and we'll tell you more about it later. We don't know what game it is. We don't know when the games are. We don't know when it happens. We just know that it's happening. And I mean, I guess it's okay, but if you weren't going to say any of that now, why say this? I don't get that. I can't. The argument that they can tell you later, I don't feel like is a valid one because they brought your attention now. They put all the attention on this event. They've been talking about it on the last, 2 Inside Xboxes, and they've been tweeting about it for weeks, and they've done videos about this with Inside Xbox Fan Fest show. We have news. Please come watch us. We're resurrecting XO. We're pulling a page out of the past. They've really done a lot in Xbox standards for getting at least their base, Xbox insiders, attention. And to have this announcement, Winter of Arcade's coming back, with no idea what it is. I was somewhat taken aback. And it was live on stream. I think my head just hit my microphone. I was like, who does this? Who announces a program and announces, give us one game. Give us one game and say the other 3 will be unveiled later. I mean, it was originally 4. The Summer of Arcade stuff was 4, right? Now, right, Luke? They do 4 games. You buy all 4, you get a discount. The more.
Yeah. I thought it was 5 or 6, if I'm being honest.
Oh,
okay.
It might have been 4.
I mean, it's been a long time. It's been a long time. And I know, PlayStation does similar things. They have bundles that you buy as well. Maybe I'm getting confused with those, but I mean, I really love these. I mean, they announced so many indie games at this show with Game Pass. Why they didn't just put one indie game in here? Why don't you just say Ashen? Just put a game that people want in here that you've been showing for 2 or 3 years and put it in here and say, hey, it's coming to Winter of Arcade and we're starting this in January. They didn't say anything. It's news, but it's no news. What do you think, Luke? Let's argue.
Winter of Arcade didn't do. I mean, it didn't make. I don't understand why they did it, but I don't. Let me rephrase that. I totally know why they did it because now we are discussing it, and now we are talking about it, and now it is going to be a headline every time they announce a title, and they are extremely good at doing that when they drop a backward compatible title here, when they talk about a Game Pass title that's launching. They've broken from their trend of announcing the Game Pass titles at the end of the month. Now they're just sprinkling them in. We got a few in the middle of October that were horror based. We got a few at the beginning of November. We got a few just yesterday. So they're now, I think they're playing a very smart media and mind game at putting the words Xbox into people's brains in build up for the next generation. And that's a big meta conversation. But to speak specifically on Winter of Arcade, I agree with you. They should have dropped a title. I thought that was a bit odd to say, hey, it's going to be coming back, but nothing there. The right choice was to announce Winter of Arcade at this conference.
Yeah.
The wrong choice was to not offer a title or two to look forward to within it because they also wanted to be surprises. This is your Inside Xbox. I was surprised they put that in there, but I don't think Winter of Arcade matters a darn bit when ID at Xbox is churning out incredible games weekly, or not incredible, not weekly, but there are every month we're getting a great game or two from ID at Xbox, which is a terribly titled, amazing program, and the people at ID at Xbox are wonderful. So it's just odd. Why do Winter of Arcade? Why not Summer of Arcade? Just wait. Or not. It seems strange, but I do understand parts of it.
Justin, what do you think about Xbox announcing the return of a long-awaited indie program without announcing or talking about one game?
Well, so I didn't watch this live yesterday, right? So when I went to catch up on everything, I went to IGN and Kotaku, and they basically did a summary of everything that was announced yesterday.
Sure.
This was not on either of those lists.
You know why? Because it's not newsworthy. Because
if they would have announced, let's say Summer of Arcade, and they would have had a lineup later next year, early next year in January, February, while people are buying video games for every console because February's crazy this next year. If they would have announced Summer of Arcade then and actually give you the games, huge news. Every site's gonna pick it up, everything. So yeah, not watching live, I have to imagine this was a little bit of a dud when it was announced because I'm not even seeing it on my radar.
I mean, it literally was. We're announcing the winner of Arcade, taking a different spin. We're going to do this program, and we'll announce the games later. That was the announcement.
Yeah,
Like,
it's bizarre. So,
it's bizarre.
but yeah, and Luke's probably, he's right. We are talking about it, and the Unlocked guys are going to talk about it, and other, but not everyone else, and that's who you want to be talking about Xbox.
Yep. You're right. And it makes me question, to be honest with you, it makes me question the lineup.
Yeah.
Why not? Do you not have it, or do you maybe not believe in it? I don't know. I don't want to speculate too much on that, but like it makes me question the lineup. I'm like, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you say a game? Like, why would you not? It almost becomes a question of why not more than why. You can still have the surprise factor and still announce. All right, so to get us out of here before like we pod until midnight, I'm going to run through the rest of these pretty quick, and then we'll talk about the conference. So they announced Black Friday deals are coming. You get $10 off controllers, even the Custom Design Labs one, which is really cool. The Xbox One X is $100 off, so $399, and I'm sure there'll be Black Friday doorbusters that even go below that. Worth every penny. Absolutely love it. And they're going back to their Game Pass promotion, which, Luke, correct me if I'm wrong. I for some odd reason, this has happened so much that I just assume that it's always a thing, but apparently it's not. Game Pass for new subscribers is $1 for the first month. Isn't that like always the thing?
It is always a sale and a promotion. It's kind of like the original price is this, but it's so regularly on sale that it feels that way. So yeah, when they were like, oh, and you can do this for $1, I was like, all right.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just waiting for the sales to go live for people that are re-upping.
The reason I was wondering, like, if anybody bought it like for $10, like the first month or something. I'm like, what happened? Civilization Revolution is now backwards compatible, and an X enhanced version is on the way. Mouse and keyboard support are coming to 14 titles, including Warface, which I still cannot believe there's a game called Warface. DayZ, Warframe, Strange Brigade, Deep Rock Galactic, Fortnite is the big one. Wargroove is another big one, and I think benefits most from mouse and keyboard, and Warhammer, amongst other. I'm not going to read them all. PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds coming to Xbox Game Pass. That's big news in the sense that, a lot of their games in the Battle Royale arena are either free to play or free to start, and that one's not. And now it kind of is if you have Game Pass, and I think that's a good move because they needed to do something. Phil Spencer said that there would be improvements to the Windows Store. That's interesting. We can talk about that later. Just Cause got a trailer, so did Jump Force. Metro Exodus got a trailer of a new special edition bundle. Devil May Cry got a trailer, and Justin, they showed us the training mode.
Yeah, I saw that actually.
I said this is about as awesome as in the Smash Direct, Nintendo showing us the settings menu. Where they showed us how he could change the language and the voice and the volume. They just showed the training, the dojo, where he's like, and you can just beat this guy and he won't attack you back for like 6 minutes. That was an interesting one. The cutest little trailer, I'll give it this. The cutest little trailer gave way to an announcement that was just, I don't know. Cats and pandas are coming to Minecraft.
Yeah,
now,
is that a big deal? Like, I don't know Minecraft at all.
Minecraft is a big deal, and I'm sure there's people excited for cats and pandas. Don't get me wrong. The trailer and how much time they gave to cats and pandas is not a big deal, and this content is not a big deal. This is not an expansion. This is not, a new thing you can do in Minecraft. This is literally just more assets in a game that constantly creates new assets. Like,
so this isn't a big deal to us, and we're sure it's not a big deal to Minecraft people, right? It was an inordinate amount of time. It was an odd choice. I just assumed, kind of like when I watch a Nintendo Direct and they talk about 3DS. I'm like, okay, not my jam.
But right. I mean, I don't want to alienate, because I do this a lot. I say a lot of like hot takes that are other podcasters at PSVG make fun of me all the time. I don't want to alienate anybody. I'm sure somebody jumped out of their chair for cats and pandas. Do I think this is a thing, an announcement-worthy note item that you do No, I do not. Okay. My son is a huge Minecraft person. He was bored to tears during the show. Like, this did nothing for him. I do think the trailer was neat. It was interesting. It was funny. It was cute. It was charming. It reminded me of like the voiceover intros that they do for like Little Big Planet a lot. Was what I got. But and then of course they used puns like pandemonium and catastrophe. Those were very funny, but it was weird. It was a weird place like I always hate judging shows based on like presentation, but it was like a weird place to put it in the pace of the show. Like it really slowed the show down because it was a long time. I don't know how long it was off the top of my head, but it felt like a good 5 or 8 minutes, like just talking about cats and pandas. They had like this whole backstory to cats and pandas, of why they're here in Minecraft. It was ridiculous. Tomb Raider gets a challenge tomb DLC. You can play it co-op. There's a time attack mode. They did a ton of Game Pass promos. 16 games were announced for Game Pass in total. November 12th, just tomorrow, or I guess today, Game Pass subscribers can play PUBG. November 22nd, the service adds Agents of Mayhem. Kevin special. Kevin loves that game. And
I also love that game.
Bike motocross game. Thomas Was Alone. Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice joins on December 17th. You've got to play that game if you haven't. I don't care where you play it. It's a must play. December 20th, you can play Ori and the Blind Forest. I presume the HD Definitive Edition, it better be, because I've been waiting for that one. That one should have already been here by now. Kingdoms 2 Crowns comes in mid-December. And so does strategy game Mutant Year Zero, which is kind of, I don't know about this. Now, Josh got really excited for this announcement, and I understand why. I want to say this is a Valkyria-like game mechanically. It's a turn-based, like real-time strategy game, like a turn-based RPG, but you move in real time, like Valkyria. You move across the map in real time, and then you do turn-based combat attacks against each other. But it's all post-apocalyptic, mutant zombie type deal, like this wasteland type setting. January brings After Charge and Supermarket Shriek. Pathologic 2, The Good Life, and Secret Neighbor will also come to Game Pass whenever they launch. No dates. They just, when they come, it'll be in Game Pass. And that was the news stuff, the bullet points for this show that I pulled down. Luke, do you have anything that I missed that you want to highlight before we talk about the show?
I feel like you hit everything. I'm going through my notes as well. I think announcement wise, like information wise, I think you hit all the big things and even some of the small things. So yeah, I think you're solid on that one. Yep.
All right. Our first question comes from Kevin, and he wants to know what was the most exciting announcement for us at XO. My most exciting announcement was the inclusion of Hellblade coming into Game Pass. I was actually expecting We Happy Few to come in as well, considering that they bought them as 2. But Hellblade is a great game, and this is a big get for Game Pass. I would say it should feel like a first-party release, like into Game Pass, because so many people probably haven't played it. But I do think there's something said that my most exciting announcement from this entire show of 2 hours is a 1-year-old game coming to Game Pass. That just kind of puts into perspective how I kind of feel in the show. What was your most exciting announcement from XO, Luke?
The acquisition of Obsidian.
Okay.
I think, and then to follow it with In Exile or vice versa. It was reversed, but those two new studios, cool, nice. I like it.
What do you think is the most? What was the most exciting announcement for you, Justin?
The studios, getting those 2 studios on was big.
The juicy news warmer. The only reason I didn't go with that as my most exciting is I mean, outside of South Park, I've never really played any of their games. So I think it's exciting news because, again, it's studio acquisitions, big news. But am I excited about it? I don't know. Not really.
Yeah.
Like I'm not. I have to be won over before I tell you I'm excited to play the next Obsidian game. Like I got to see it's Obsidian Fable Stories or something. Like I need more than that.
Yeah, Obsidian's a weird one too because, like you were talking about earlier, they take on other properties.
Yeah.
They've taken on other engines. Like Fallout was not their engine. They just did a really good story and tweaked the engine.
Yep.
So it's kind of weird. Like they could be working on. We have no idea what they're going to work on.
A lot of rumors, people trying to point them Fable's way, which goes against completely everything that we know about Eurogamer's report that Playground has started a second team and they're doing Fable.
And I think I still think that the Playground thing is legit because I think there's been more and more clues about that kind of spill out here and there. But they could be helping. Fable's a huge game.
I was gonna say, I mean, if I ran Xbox, Sean Capri special there. I think too many people don't take enough liberty or enough appreciation into making more than one game in an IP. I don't think that can be done more. You see it, you have Mario game, you have Mario Rabbids, right? You have Halo, or you have Gears of War, you have Gears Pop. Why can't you make a Fable game and let Obsidian make another one? Make a different one. It's a 2D game. It's a different game, but it's a good property. Like, you can have multiple games if they're different games, they're different styles of games, they're different mechanically. Why not?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's what they're doing. I'm just I would like that. I would be down for that.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. I don't think Microsoft's going to do it because they tried that with Fable and then they ended up canceling that game after a really long time.
Fable Legends. Until I heard that they closed down Lionhead. Like, Fable Legends was awesome until there is no more Fable. Then it wasn't awesome anymore. And they were upset with Fable Legends. It's just like what, a Diablo mobile game, right? Diablo mobile would have been great news if they said and Diablo 4. You just can't do the one that nobody wants. You got to do both. But if you do both, everybody's happy.
That's true. That's a good point.
I would totally be down for E3 Playground Big Fable, Obsidian RPG Fable, or MMO Fable, or whatever Fable. I'd be awesome. I'd be so excited.
Yeah, dude. Okay. When the next real Fable comes out, gets announced, that's the day that I pre-order an Xbox.
I'm gonna cry.
But yeah, I'm really curious to see what Obsidian's working on. The In Exile guys, they already have a game. I'm kind of curious. They have a game coming out. Wasteland 3 is coming out. So like it's kind of like a Minecraft thing where they're gonna have to release that on all platforms, I assume. Kind of like they planned.
It's just like the We Happy Few folks. They bought that before they released, and they released on everything.
Yeah, that's true. So, but then I wonder if they do the same thing. They take on maybe they make a Halo
spinoff.
Yeah, like an isometrical RPG in the Halo universe. That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah. That was the first thing I thought of as I started applying Xbox properties to these folks. Give them something they can chew on. I would give Obsidian Halo. Hey, go make me a Halo RPG. Make it freaking awesome.
Yeah.
That'll sell more than Bard's Tale or
something like that. Yeah. Something you weren't interested there. I mean, Xbox like you like the Xbox properties. Why wouldn't you? Halo and Gears are awesome universes. Like, why not throw different mechanics to those, stories and stuff? So
yep. All right. So this whole show has been dedicated to XO, but we've got to get out of here. But I do want to ask, just in general, what are your thoughts of the presentation? How do you feel after that you watched it? I'll give you time to think. I personally think this was one of the worst deliveries of information that I think I've ever had or ever sat through. In writing all the show notes and combing through all the details, they had a lot to say. It's not like they didn't bring news. They brought news. There's news to say. It's just unfortunate, I think, with the way that they've positioned this announcement. I do think, even though my expectations really weren't that grand, even though my expectations, I think, were checked and measured, I expected something. You bring all this attention to yourself and you invite all these people to come on your show, give them something. Give them a title screen, say Fable. Say, like, why didn't we see Gears 5 or Gears Pop or Gears Tactics? Like, all these things we saw at E3, just show them again. I don't think that's a bad idea because they already did that. They showed us a bunch of stuff that was at E3 again. They showed us Kingdom Hearts. They showed us Just Cause. They showed us all these games that we've already seen before, but we didn't see anything first party. They didn't announce anything new. I don't think you can draw this much attention to yourself and not announce something new. Like, if you're not going to announce anything new, you shouldn't be asking for all this. I think their big news obviously was Obsidian, and I just don't know if that's news to warrant a 2-hour press conference. And I said I always hate the war of the presentation element, but the delivery on a lot of this news was woeful. There were definitely times it was very just mundane and like yawning. I'm just like, what is going on? Like, come on, let's move. There were some very, very good parts. I loved the Black Friday sales pitch. I actually wish they leaned more into it. I thought Larry Herd pulled that off like a champ. If they had really gone like ShamWow and gave him a mic and had like, prices popping on the screen and whatnot, that would have been really funny and cute. But I mean, just a lot of this stuff was Game Pass announcements, which they already do monthly. They do it in a YouTube trailer, in a tweet, in a blog post. And that's really kind of the focus of this entire presentation was Game Pass. It was Game Pass focus. And I love Game Pass. Game Pass is what brought me back to Xbox. I buy it as soon as it goes on sale, as much as I can. I think I'm paid up through Game Pass for like 5 years. I always want as much Game Pass as possible because I love the program and the initiative. It's great. But 2-hour presentation. And again, my biggest excited thing was a game that's been out for a year is coming to Game Pass next month. It's not even out today. It's not, it's just, I don't know. I do have some expectations when you say, hey, we've got news to say. I mean, to quote Phil Spencer, big news. And, they did have big news. They had Obsidian. but they didn't say anything about what Obsidian was working on. You know, like, I don't know. When you say you have big news, I expected something. Give me a trailer. Give me a title screen. It didn't have to be anything. You can't even say, well, they haven't made it up their mind. Just announce that somebody's working on Fable. Or just show us Gears 5. Give us a slice. Give us something. Say something about Halo Infinity. Say something about it. Don't just say anything. You know, don't announce a winner of Arcade and no games. Say something. If you're going to say, hey, we've got something to say, then say something. And that's kind of how I felt. Like I felt like they gave us a lot of news for 2 hours that could have. I feel like any direct, any presentation, any E3, any conference, you can always say everything could have been announced in a trailer. I mean, like that's an easy stone to throw anytime you're upset. Video gamers love trailers, like more than anybody else. Like we love trailers. We have entire conferences of putting hundreds of people in one little room together to watch trailers together and scream. Like we love trailers. So I'm not going to say that. But I mean, if you're going to say we're going to do a 2-hour show, then bring a really good trailer. You know, like, bring a really exciting trailer for us to watch. And I just didn't feel like they lived up to the bone. I think it was really good information that they brought. I definitely think it could have been condensed and delivered in a better manner. Some of the interviews and things they're hard to watch at times. They're hard to watch. So that's basically how I landed on the conference. And in the spirit of good debate, as I always like to do here at PSVG, I always love to bring the other side of the coin. That's why we asked Mr. Luke to come from the Xbox Drive. Luke, what did you think about the conference? What do you think about what I thought of the conference?
I had an absolute blast with Inside Xbox. I thought it was fun. I thought it was engaging. I thought it was the best Inside Xbox they've had. And I think the big concerns that people tend to have with it is they're not sure how to define Inside Xbox because it's not PSX, but it's not a Nintendo Direct, and it exists in this strange ether in between. But as far as the conference specifically, I thought it was fantastic. You talked about a trailer. They did bring a trailer with Crackdown 3 relaunching. I thought that was wonderful. The way they showed that went over so much more palpably than at E3. The idea that they acquired not one but 2 new studios to build towards not just their Game Pass catalog in the future, but their next Xbox is absolutely wonderful. I thought that was very well handled. I thought it was extremely charming to have the director from Kingdom Hearts 3 and then the guys from Sea of Thieves up there and being genuine and saying, this is what we're working on. This is what we like. The Sea of Thieves guys, I mean, they got put through the absolute ringer at the beginning of the year. So to see those 2 up there healthy and talking about content they're continuing to bring to a growing fan base, I liked. 16 Game Pass titles, absolutely wonderful. And Game Pass has given so much of late of the triple and double A quality, as well as indie, that not having release dates in a few of those, I also enjoyed because there's plenty of content for me to play that I was just given in the past month that I'm not going to get to because I was given so much of it. And knowing that there's that plus Games with Gold, I was very excited. The deals part, I actually thought was I didn't actually like the Crazy Larry portion because of Game Pass being so good. I'm like, oh, I have that. I have access to that one. I have access to that one. I have access to that one. That made me chuckle. But I wasn't necessarily happy with everything. I was bored during Minecraft. I didn't think that was at all necessary. I don't give 2 hoots about Jump Force, but I loved the enthusiasm they showed there. It certainly wasn't as boring as watching a gentleman play a flute, like at PSX. And that was he was a very talented flute player, but it wasn't a video game conference.
Shots fired.
No, and not an intentional
No, I love it. No, keep going. Don't stop.
There's validity to that. I mean, no one blabbed at me about.
I forgot to mention like the 9 NBA Playgrounds commercials we got, like the same commercial over and over again.
That was a bit amusing, and it made me think of something Jeff Keighley once said. You got to pay for a conference somehow.
That's
and
true.
It made me chuckle because I was like, well, there was no Schick Hydro Pro Man out there. But I also thought that a couple of the things I would have expected to see, a Fable 4 splash screen, or Gears Pop is out today, and Gears Tactics will have mouse and keyboard support on Xbox.
Xbox, something.
I think you're going to get 1 or 2 of those at Game Awards. I really do. Because I watched the Gears of War conference today, like the panel, not conference, I'm sorry, the panel. It was boring as can be. It was absolutely atrocious. It made perfect sense. Oh, if this is all you had, which was nothing, good thing you didn't put anything out there. We knew Halo wouldn't be there. Halo and Gears, I think, are tapped for potential as far as hype goes right now. Gears 5 looks incredible.
Yeah.
And the big world of it. I'm wearing a Gears hoodie right now. There's Halo stuff behind me. I love those franchises, but we don't need those right now. We need new. And Crackdown is new. Game Pass is what they're selling to build future. Seeing people cheer and be excited and celebrate the brand, good. I thoroughly enjoyed the energy and the excitement and I think the best term for it is endearment. I loved it. I got to see my friends' names scroll on the ticker below as they talked about things they liked. I was on there, so I was on there as well, and I was very excited to see that. It was a fan fest, and it was a great fan fest because they talked about studios. They didn't announce a mobile game and walk away. They didn't do some of the things that we've seen people make obvious mistakes and faux pas on. So I truly indeed loved the Xbox conference, and it is not because I'm an Xbox guy. I have every system. I play every system. I feel we should play games and celebrate games. Spider-Man is one of my favorite games of the year. So I liked it a lot. I thought it felt good.
Okay. I was trying to think. I thought I had a rebuttal to that, but Justin, what do you think? What do you think about this?
So I came at it from a different angle than you guys. I don't own an Xbox, but I
the show.
But as far as the studio announcement's huge, and I was just excited when I look at the news cycle and I look at what came out of this thing. I was excited about that. So as someone who didn't watch it live, which sounds like was hit or miss for sure. And the other biggest thing is there was no PlayStation experience this year.
It's true.
So PlayStation fans didn't get anything. So even if there were some dull moments in this presentation, it's still better than what PlayStation fans got. At the end of the day, it's something is better than nothing. And to your point, sometimes they need to give a little more something rather than nothing. But they still have and maybe they made maybe they drew a little bit too much attention to it. Maybe they should have tried to make sure it was just the hardcore fans.
2 hours.
Yeah, 2 hours is a long time.
2 hours is a long time.
Yep. That sounds like and it's always better, they could have done a tight hour with really good announcements, gone through the city, gone through the studio announcements, gone through Crackdown stuff and all the DLC that they had into some other games. And then leave the other stuff to, I don't know, a different presentation maybe, or maybe have a hands-on experience. I don't know.
To be fair, they did announce that this was the last Inside Xbox, and there won't be another one next month.
They did say that. I have a question for you both, if you don't mind. This is not Inside Xbox specific, but conference specific. Jump Force doesn't appeal to me. But do you think that in putting some spotlight onto like a game like that or a couple others helps with their relationship outside of this? So whereas we in the conference may not necessarily be, I think that's a factor that maybe we're ignoring as objective.
No, 100%. You make it's all about rubbing elbows, man. You build relationships and you support one another. And the folks that you support, like Ubisoft has backed Nintendo for a long time. And Nintendo gives Ubisoft a ton of promotion, typically.
Yeah.
They have Star Fox and they play with Mario in their games. Like that's relationship that those two have built each other. Destiny owns on PlayStation because PlayStation is promoted and marketed than they had at first. And it was on their stage. And every time you ever saw Destiny, it was next to a PlayStation logo. Mm-hmm. There's definitely reasons for that. What I was going to come back to either one of you, I definitely know this for me. I don't watch most Inside Xboxes because after the first two that I watched, I kind of realized what it was. Going back to your original point, it does exist in this weird space that it's not something we're conditioned to see most of the time. And because it's never a news noteworthy thing that I have to see because they're dropping things that you can only hear there. It's typically something I react to your tweets, Luke. I see what Sean said about it. I hear about it on Unlocked. I catch it on YouTube. I catch a trailer, but I don't tune into the live show. And I thought this one was going to be different. Maybe that was my bad, but I thought it was going to be different because they had Phil announce it, because they called it XO, because they said it was going to be big announcements, because they tweeted about it for 3 weeks, because they kind of did all this leading up to it. I was like, okay, this one's different. And it was. And that's why, and we streamed it. But I got to tell you, based on what this was, I don't know if I do the next one. I mean, I think that's the thing is you can only have so many of these where you say, hey, we got news. Come watch us. Come watch us live on Twitch. Come watch us live on Mixer. You can only do too many of those. Whereas if you don't, you got to give the fans something to pop on. I mean, you have to. That's the business. I'm not, like, I don't want to call like winners and losers. That's not what this is about. But this is all marketing, and you want to get people really excited. That's why we have these conferences. And if you don't, then people will stop watching. And I definitely know for me, if they announced, hey, in June 2019, we're gonna have XO in Peru, and I'd be like, okay, I hope that Luke tweets, tells me what was announced, because I'm not gonna watch another 2-hour show unless they prove otherwise, unless they prove that it was worth the investment. I don't think it was worth the investment to sit through and watch this whole thing. What do you guys think about that? Little cry wolf. You think there's any logic to that?
Justin,
yeah, I mean, if it wasn't worth your time, that wasn't worth your time. That's completely up. And maybe it wasn't. I think Luke's right though. He brought up a good point. Like, this might have been a lot of rubbing elbows in business. Like, they had 3 really big Japanese games: Kingdom Hearts, Jump Force, Devil May Cry. Those are all huge Japanese games, and that's been a huge problem for Microsoft in the past. And I mean, Xbox One's probably still not selling well over there. But so which then in that case, well, why did you host this in Mexico City? Why don't you host an event in Japan, and try to, hit the home crowd hard or something? But I'm excited. I had a couple good announcements out of it, and that's the most I can hope for something that's not E3, so to get anything exciting out of it, I was happy with. Granted, I don't own an Xbox, so I don't need to be that excited about things. They didn't sway me for sure. That's not what this was about. But it's a step in the right direction. They've got me thinking about what I'm going to do next console generation for sure.
I definitely would support your theory in the groundswell movement. It's getting there. If they can just kind of get everything aligned into the same channel, if they can, take 2 steps forward without taking 1 back, I think they're onto something. They've got the services, they've got Game Pass, now they have exclusives, even if they're not Guerrilla Naughty Dog level of exclusives, and maybe they will be. We have no idea what the initiative is going to be. Maybe they will be, but even if they're not, they have enough exclusive parties in first party now that at least you're going to getting regular exclusive, something to be excited about. They're definitely building something for next gen. I'm all in. I mean, for all the things that I'm down on this conference about, I'm all in on Xbox. I cannot wait. I'm ready for them to just pull the plug. Let's move on, because it feels like, the longer that we just sit here, it's more of them just kind of getting out of their way. And I know, it's going to take time. These studios are just getting started. But there will be a day. You better mark it. There will be a day, 2 or 3 years from now, where we get an E3 of 8, 9 exclusive games, a roadmap that they're all coming together, and it's going to be awesome. It's going to be an awesome day. It's gonna be awesome. All right, so we've talked a long time. We have questions. I'm not gonna read them all. We've got 2 that I think, or definitely we've got 2 that are fit for this show. So let's get this one out of the way. Serge asked, Nintendo and Microsoft work out a deal to release a new game on Switch and Xbox simultaneously with Nintendo and Xbox properties intermingled. What crossover characters do you want to see, Luke?
To make sure I understand the question, if there was a game that was on both platforms, which would kind of go back and forth?
You're going to cross-promote and cross-publish.
I think you have to throw in a Spartan, like a kidified Spartan, a fun version of a Spartan. We've seen it kind of in tests. I think you have to throw that in there somehow. Sir?
Like a chibi Spartan.
Yeah, something akin to that. Yeah, like I have the
Funko.
Yeah, it's like the amiibo-looking Master Chief they just released, but it's not. But something akin to that, I think, is a must. And then beyond that, maybe I think everybody wants to say Banjo, and I think there's a lot of logic to that. I think there's also a lot of validity to perhaps a Battletoad, if that game does exist, that new version.
Another one I was expecting to see.
I was expecting a tease or something as well, but whatever it is, it needs to be mascot-esque. But that's kind of a joke that on the Xbox Drive, Sean and I kind of go back and forth on, because I believe and I thoroughly enjoy mascot platformers and mascot things, and Xbox has no mascot. Game Pass is their mascot. Services are their mascot. AAA third party are their mascot. So it's
like their PC history. Like they're just kind of bleeding edge tech, and but you're right.
Yeah, I would love to see Super Lucky's Tale evolve into something special. I don't. There is no good answer to this. A Forza car? What? Like, there's no.
My answer was cross
Nintendo-
promotion between Mario Kart and Forza. You
It's
take
gotta
a
be
Mario Kart, you do like a Hot Wheels type thing in Forza, but then you bring some Forza stuff. Maybe you have like a Forza car with like Master Chief driving it, and he's a downloadable character in Mario Kart. Mario Kart had real cars. They had Mario, like the Mercedes-Benz DLC in Mario Kart, which was really cool.
Mhm.
I wouldn't do like a cross promotion game. I know that's just breaking the question that somebody asked, but that would be my thing. I think that would be just as big news.
The idea of a Mario Kart Spartan or Master Chief.
It could
in
be
a
Banjo and freaking Lambo.
Yeah, those make sense. But I mean, it's a great question that unfortunately doesn't lend itself to a great answer.
Justin, you got a crossover idea? You want to pitch?
Dude, I can't think of anything. I'm thinking of like PlayStation properties that could mix with Xbox properties. None. Like, do I put Drake in the Halo universe? No, it doesn't make sense. Do I put Drake into do I have him in the Gears of War universe? That might be funny. That might be really funny. But it doesn't make any damn sense. Like, it doesn't make any sense. So the honestly, Forza and Mario Kart, probably best solution. Plausible,
The most fitting question to end the show on is from Turkey, who writes in to ask, what is a game trailer that got you the most hype for a game? And that's fitting because, like as I mentioned, dude, video gamers love trailers. You realize we have entire conferences, not just like one either. We have like 12 conferences a year that all we really do is show trailers. That's all we really do. I mean, you think about it. They just
mean like of all time?
Yeah, like what is a trailer that you saw and got you hyped? Like you saw a trailer and you were like, God, I can't wait to play it. Yes. Like what's that trailer for you?
Justin, do you want to go first?
So this is actually before like I was on the internet and stuff, but like the Metal Gear Solid 2 trailer. Because there's a trailer that came with the demo that came with Zone of Enders, and dude, I played that demo a million times and I watched that stupid trailer a million times. Ended up being one of my favorite games of all time, but Kojima stuff, I just love it. So that's got to be my
okay. Mine and to cheat, I've got two. The first time I ever saw that very first trailer at PlayStation 4's conference for Final Fantasy 15, I so wanted to play that game like right away. They had like this huge grand thing. I think was that the one that had the voiceover, the music. Florence and the Machine. Yep. Like, this game looks incredible, and I couldn't have been further from the truth. I didn't like the game at all, but that's neither here nor there. That trailer got me hyped. Like I wanted to play that game. That trailer got me. The other one was the PT trailer. Like they kind of like mentioned it, and it was like this weird thing, and then like they just left the stage, and it was like out now, and everybody's like, "What?" And I was just like this obsessive curiosity of what just happened. I was like, "What did we just see? Is it a game? Is it like a commercial? What is out now? Like, I didn't even know what it was." And then to download it, like, because I for the last, I don't know, 6-7 years, I always take off for E3 so I can be at home. So to like be one of the people that was at home downloading and like tweeting about like this is a game thing like this. Oh, it's a scary game. Oh, it's a really scary game. Oh, it's a good game. Like to be a part of that whole little thing was really exciting. And so that definitely, I don't even know if it's a trailer. It's really more of just like that presentation experience. He just kind of like came out and was like, oh yeah, this thing's out now. It's weird. Luke?
I'm going to cheat too because I can. And it's fun. There was a Wii back when the Wii launched, right before Wii, when they showed this like teaser, a snapshot where they showed a little bit of Mario Galaxy, a little bit of Red Steel. The first time you saw somebody move a Wiimote,
yeah,
and sword, and all like Wii music back before we knew it was bad. Like the Wii when it was all hopes and dreams before the system launched, which is great. So that trailer, I was so excited. I was the first person to own a Wii in my city the first day it was out. Second person. And I would also say the Halo 5 live action trailers where Locke and Chief were talking about betrayal and killing each other, and they were total lies. It wasn't at all relevant to the game, which is unfortunate because the game was good but ruined by bad marketing. Like they weren't what they promised. But then lastly, the Arkham Knight trailers where you had no idea who Arkham Knight was, but you totally did, but you didn't. Like those were really good. So those are 3 great answers for great trailers. And please go YouTube the Halo 5 live action trailers. They are so good and not at all relevant to the game.
Gamers love trailers. Man. You remind me of that Connect demo where they had Project Milo and like the dude handed Milo a piece of paper. I was so sold on Connect that day. He's like, oh my God, it's be the greatest thing in gaming. Like, they totally had me. I was like, he drew a picture and gave it to the person in the game. This is insane. Blew my mind.
There's such a lie about like the way the Wii worked, and then, like it was a light gun with 2 iron. You could use candles for that sensor bar. But then also the absolute hilarity of Connect and Connect 2.0. Having a camera in front of your TV, that's crazy. We all do it now. But why would you have the microphone right next to the speakers? That is this huge design flaw. Like, what are you doing? And so like Xbox on, and then it's like you're yelling over your speakers. This is just ridiculous. But I love the idea that like those were so ahead of their time. They're so Sega Channel. Remember Sega Channel? And they streamed the game to your Sega Genesis.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, and then they had the Ethernet cord and Dreamcast, like the Wii remote and Connect and whatnot. Those were so ahead of their time, and then they just kind of.
I had a Dreamcast and I had no idea what an Ethernet port was. I was like, "What is this thing on this console? Like, what it goes for?" You know, we had internet through our phone line. Like, I don't know what this is for.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that'll do it for us. Thank you, boys and girls, for listening to us. Before we leave, Luke, tell everybody where they can find your things on the internet.
Guys, I hope you enjoyed having me on and my content. If you enjoy any of the discussion points I brought up, you can find me streaming over on Mixer at mixer.com/insipidghost. You can find me on Twitter at MLS Reserves. And then it would mean the absolute world if you guys would check out the podcast I'm very fortunate to do with Sean Capri. It's called The Xbox Drive. We try to keep it to 30, 40 minutes at most. Sean is going to be welcoming a new child into his family soon, so we're hoping to keep a consistent schedule, but whatever works for him, we're going to do. But if you enjoyed that, please check me out there. It means the world when I hear from you guys.
Awesome. And that'll do it for us, boys and girls, before we let you go. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I have been getting out of the whole plugging ourselves. If you've been listening to Shaq or anything that IMC, I've been getting out of that. But Justin, please tell listeners where they can follow Justin.
Well, you can follow me personally at Justin Pickard on Twitter. But I'm on the PSXP podcast. We have an episode every week. It drops on Wednesdays. We do a main show. And then the next week we'll do a lighter show with just news and stuff with Seth. So it comes every week on Wednesdays, and usually I'm always on there. So
getting very good over there at the PlayStation content, I might say. I very much enjoyed last week's episode.
Me and Seth are really grooving and moving.
Yeah, that's always fun. Okay,
I just followed you, Justin.
I appreciate it.
Hey, you at least got one. You got one from the plug. You know what?
There we go.
Before I let you go, boys and girls, remember you can find us over at psvg.blog. Click the Discord banner. Come into our newly launched PSVG Discord, which you're going to hear all about on the intro of the show. As Ghost alluded to, Sean's about to welcome a new baby to the show, and that's doing all kinds of things. I mean, the ramifications of the Capri's having a baby, the ripple effect from that is being felt way out. So there's some changes over here at PSVG. We hope you stick with us. We hope you continue to support us, and we'll have some news soon. So hopefully some exciting news. And Kevin will answer and do all of that in the intro to the show. And we appreciate you always for listening. We hope you tell a friend, leave an iTunes review that helps other people find us. Remember, you can follow Board with Video Games and the Nintendo Shack on their own separate feeds. PSXP and OT are just out there in the wild, like waiting. Got any ETA on any of that, Justin? You guys gonna get? I don't know. You guys want to start on that?
Yeah, we'll try something.
Talk about Donnie. We'll talk about that offline. You stop saying that on the podcast. Got it. And with that, boys and girls, remember, we appreciate you for downloading and listening to us, and never stop gaming.